Hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Stitching Over the Days podcast. My name is Constance and this is a podcast all about my knitting, sewing, and crochet adventures. And I want to thank any new viewers and also any returning viewers for taking a moment out of your day to hear all about my adventures. Alright, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as cleocmc, that's CLEOCMC. There's also a Ravelry group, Stitching Over the Days, and there is a blog with the show notes, yarningoverthedays.wordpress.com. Alright, I'm going to get started because I have some things to share with you. I think we're covering all the bases in this episode. I have some crochet, some knitting, and some sewing. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. First up, we'll start with the crochet. Last episode I mentioned that I had a work in progress of Ankara the donkey, and this is a design from Edward's Menagerie, and I was inspired by an image on Toss's Instagram page in which they shared an image of a donkey, and since I had some yarn left over from my I was trying to find the image for you. Yes, I had some yarn left over from my Lawrence sweater, and I decided to use that remaining yarn to create Ankara. So she's so adorable, and at first I didn't know what to do with her because I was thinking that she wasn't going to stick around a while and maybe I would gift her or give her away. But I think that she turned out so adorable and so cute, and also I just loved her. Let me show it to you, that I decided to keep her. So there's so many different details that I love about her. First, I really love that she was made with the yarn that was remaining from my Lawrence sweater. Another thing I really love is her little tail, because it was created in the same manner that the Bridget the Elephant tail was created. And I also, her little mane of hair was so fun to create. And I really like that they gave you instructions, but there was an opportunity to really kind of customize it. And so I decided to make sure that she had a full mane. And so that was really fun, creating those little chain loops. And also, for her feet, I used the Cascade 220 Superwash. I'm not sure the color, but it's a white color, obviously. And for her eyes, I decided to give her some blue eyes. And so if you look closely, the eyes are a deep blue. And that was some scrap yarn that I had from my Elizabeth of York vest. So the donkey was created with a lot of scrap yarn that I had hanging around. And I just think she's super adorable. I especially love her little ears and how they kind of are a bit lopsided. She really has quite a bit of personality. I don't have anything else to say. It's definitely created in that classic top construction, and she was really fun to make as usual, and also it's a really easy crochet project. And so she's been sitting and hanging around the apartment, and I think that she may stay because I didn't get to create the other topped animal that I wanted to create, and it may be a while before I get to that. So I just think that I'll let Ankara hang around until I get to that, and she may stay. Okay, I also mentioned in the previous episode that I had an opportunity to try out the Rowan Spring Summer 2020 trunk show. And when I tried out the trunk show, I realized that I really loved the shawl, and I had never knitted a shawl before. I've crocheted a few shawls. Don't ask me where they are because I don't know where they are. They may have gone lost over the years. Maybe they're still at my parents' place. I don't know. So I'm not a big shawl knitter, but when I tried the shawl from the collection, I was surprised at how much I liked it, and I knew that I wanted to create one. So this is from Rowan's current issue, their spring summer issue, and I was telling you that I really wanted to create the Sartre shawl by Georgia Farrell. Let me find an image for you. And okay, here's some images of it. And it is a part of this issue. It was like a highlight on twin sets. And so some of the twin sets were classic twin sets, you know, a cardigan with a pullover, but others were not your typical twin sets, like they may have paired a pullover with a skirt, or in the case of the Sartre shawl, it is paired with a pullover. And so I used the kid silk haze. The suggested yarn was the Rowan kid silk haze with the Rowan fine lace. However, I wanted to go for that Laguna color. I'm wearing the Sartre shawl, and so I wanted to go for the Laguna color, and I wanted a lighter blue color. But when I actually went, I had a special appointment with the yarn shop, and when I went in person, there wasn't really a lighter blue that really was what I was envisioning. So I instead went with, what's the name of this color? Ghost. So I went with the ghost color because I wanted that high contrast, and I liked that. But when it came to pairing, because the yarn is held double, I had to think of a what I'm trying to say, a yarn that would complement it. But the Rowan fine lace didn't really have colors that I felt comfortable pairing with the Laguna and the ghost color. So instead, the yarn shop owner and also Emmett, he helped me to find colors in the Malabrigo lace, and the colors that I used were Tuareg and Pearl, and I think it was the perfect complement. It did take a while for me to get to. At first we went with this other contrast color, but it kind of looked like a lighter purple, and I really didn't like how the blue looked with that lighter purple. So it took a while, but oh my goodness, they were so patient with me, and I'm so grateful for Emmett because he really helped me to just get it down how I want it. And overall, I'm super happy with the shawl. It's quite beautiful. It's like wearing a cloud. Is so amazing. I'm not like, I don't wear shawls so much, and so I think that what I like to wear in the classic shape, you know, kind of like the traditional way of wearing it, just over the shoulders. But I was thinking that when it gets colder outside, it would look nice to wear it in the more modern way that we wear shawls. So let me show it to you. Hold on, let me fix it. Yeah, something like this, you know, when it gets colder outside. But for now, I've been just keeping it draped over my couch because I like that it matches the color scheme here in my place, and it matches the throw pillows, and it's really nice and lightweight. But when the air conditioning gets too cold, then I like draping it over my shoulders, and also wearing it in the early morning because it's a bit cooler in the mornings. And I am so pleased with it. I just love it so much. I've been getting a lot of wear out of it. Because we are at home more than usual, I'm wearing it pretty much all the time. I even wore it to a meeting that we had, a Zoom meeting yesterday, and I think that I'm just going to keep wearing it. I thought that the colors, because it's such a, like, you know, vivid color, it's not a neutral, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I should have went with more neutral colors that would match more of my dresses. But surprisingly, it looks good with a lot of my dresses, and so I've been able to wear them with quite a few, and so I'm super happy with it. I love it so much. Was there anything else? I can't believe it's been a month since I last talked with you, because so much has happened in that month. But I do vividly remember the events that were going on when I was creating this shawl, and this was the perfect project during those times, because it really is it was a soothing and relaxing project, and it was perfect for just winding down. And I love that about this project, because overall it is an easy project, and once you see that the way things are going, I just really enjoy just like picking it up and just knitting, because I just wanted something, that repetitive comforting motion. It was just really, it was the perfect project, and so I'm super happy with it. But I really enjoyed the process of creating this Sartre shawl, and this is a design by Georgia Farrell. Okay, I have one more knitting project to share with you all, and I'm really happy about it also. So yes, we've had 2 hits with the knitting. And this is the Be Thankful Cardigan by Lily Kate France. I mentioned in the previous episode that I wanted to join Lily Kate's first knit along, and so I knew that I always wanted to create the Be Thankful cardigan. I thought I would maybe create it, you know, maybe later on, maybe September or August. But since she was having a knit along, I said, why not start it now? And so I'm so happy that I did. So this is it. And as you can see, it's just a beautiful cardigan. And I just, as always, I really love the details of Lily Kate's designs. They're knits that you really enjoy creating, that you really enjoy making, and you enjoy the process. But she puts in details and also techniques that really keeps things interesting. And so I really love that about her designs. And also, not only the details are the interesting techniques that are in the creating of the garment, but also you see those details with the finished garment. For example, I love this exposed seam here on the shoulders, and then also the faux seam that's on the sides of the garment. And I will have the detailed pictures and twirls at the end of the video, but let's see if I can kind of show the faux seam. But you can see that it has like a faux seam on the side that looks really good. And one thing that I really loved about this design, I really like the relaxed fit of it, because I don't really have that many relaxed fitting cardigans, even though I've been trying to do more of them, because it was a really nice fit, but I wanted it to have that positive ease. But when I was reading the pattern, I was thinking that if I would have gone with the size 2, it would have given me 11 inches of positive ease. And I know that when I was looking at Lily Kate's version, hers had 9 inches of positive ease. And so I felt that if I went with the 11 inches, then it would have I would have maybe been overwhelmed by the cardigan. So what I did was I went down to the size 1, because usually I make the size 2 for Lily Kate's patterns, but I went down to the size 1, and I was hoping that it would give me a fitted waist, but kind of roomy cardigan, or cardigan with more positive ease. And by going down to the size 1, they gave me 8 inches of positive ease, and I was hoping it would work out, and it did work out. It came out exactly how I envisioned. I think the fit is just perfection, and I love it so much. And so that's what I did with that. The yarn is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Tweed. The color is Cottage Heather. Now, when the color arrived, it was a lighter purple than what I thought. I thought it would be a deeper purple with more blue in it, but it was lighter. But I was like, you know, I'm going to still go with it. And I'm so happy that I did. And it turned out to be absolutely beautiful. I really liked the color. I was surprised by how much I liked it, despite, you know, when I was thinking about purple, I don't wear it a lot. So I didn't have many garments that had purple in it at all. And when I get into the sewing, I'll talk about how I was able to find something in the stash to complement this garment. So my plans were, and still are, to mainly wear the cardigan with more of my green garments and blues, because I think that purple, like, I think it'll look good with this garment. Let's see, with this gingham garment. I think that's a good look. And so that's what I was planning to do. But I was like, it would be nice to have a garment that had just a little bit of purple in it to perfectly complement the garment when I wanted to go all matchy-matchy. And so I was able to find some stash fabric that I had, and it worked out beautifully. So that is the Be Thankful cardigan. I was trying to make sure that I told you everything. What I did with this cardigan, when I finish my cardigans and garments, if they're wool, then I do a full soak. I use soap solution, and I put in about maybe a nickel size worth of the solution, and then I filled it with cold water, and I submerged the garment for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I just let it lie flat to dry on my yoga mat. Now, when it came to the shawl, I forgot to tell you, I did not do a full soak because I honestly wasn't sure how the yarn would behave, and I did not do a swatch for the shawl, because I do not do swatches for accessories. I don't know. I don't think that the fit was so important, because I mean, it's a shawl. And so because I wasn't sure how the yarn would behave, because I didn't do a swatch, what I did was I did a light blocking by doing it with, I sprayed it with cold water. I pinned it, the garment, and then I sprayed it with cold water, and I think it worked out perfectly. I really don't think, I'm talking now about the Sartre shawl again, but In the book, they didn't recommend that type of blocking. I forgot what they recommended, but I just felt like I wanted to have a neater finish, and so I did not go with the suggested method. But I'm curious on why I didn't. Let me see what they told me to do. Oh, they told me to pin out the garment and cover with damp cloths and leave it to dry naturally, which I think definitely could have worked, but I was just like, I don't feel like getting any damp cloths, which I could have done, and I thought that a spray bottle would be more effective, and I think it worked out quite nicely. So back to the Be Thankful cardigan. I absolutely love it. I like the fit of it. I love how it sits on the waist gently, but then because of that positive ease, it gives it a gentle blouse effect in the back, and I think it's perfect. I also love the length. I think that my finished length was 17 inches or around that, maybe closer, 17 and a half inches. I have to measure it again, but when I saw the finished length, I was like, oh, that's going to be perfect with my dresses, particularly my fit and flare dresses. But I think it'll look good also with my trapeze dress. I'll try it out. And so I just knew that it was a perfect cardigan. And then also, now that I'm thinking about it, that shape is similar to my Any Day sweater, which is another design by Lily Kate France. And I remember wearing that sweater a lot with my straight skirts. So I think that I'll do that also when we go back to work. I'll wear it with my straight skirts also. So I'm super happy with it, and again, I used the yarn, same yarn that I used for my Lawrence sweater, so I knew how it would behave, but I did still do a gauge swatch, and I blocked that swatch and soaked it just to make sure that I was getting gauge, and I did. I got gauge, I think, by going down 1 needle size, but all of the details are on my Ravelry page. Okay, I have one more thing to share in the finished objects, and then we'll move into the works in progress. So as I was saying, I didn't really have any purple in my wardrobe, and I was thinking that it would be nice to have a dress that had a bit more purple. So I found this fabric. In my stash of the and I purchased this fabric, oh, I think it was over 3 years ago. I know that I was at Walmart one summer. I do remember being at Walmart with my mother, and they were having this deep sale on fabric, and so the fabric was $2 per yard. And I remember looking at it like, oh, that's a nice neutral color that I think would look good, you know, to make a dress and wear it to, you know, work or something. Of course, it wasn't a fabric when I first saw it. It wasn't fabric that I was like, oh, that's gorgeous. I just was thinking that it would be good to add to the wardrobe. And that's why I probably sat in the stash for 3 years, because I wasn't that excited for it. But when I saw it and I placed it next to the yarn, I was like, oh, that would be a beautiful match. But I, of course, when I created the dress, then it was an even better match than I imagined. I forgot to get the envelope for the pattern, but hold on one second. Maybe I'll get that for you. Okay. Yes, so this is Simplicity 2444, and this pattern is out of print, but you may be able to find it from some private sellers. I found one of my, because this is a pattern that I use quite frequently, so I have two of the packets in my stash, but I was able to find an Etsy seller that was selling this. And this pattern, it came out in 2010, so it's out of print. I can't believe it's 10 years old. Oh my goodness. But I just love the garment because it's one of my it is my favorite dress pattern, not one of my favorites. I've made so many versions of it, and I've lost count. But one of my, and I'm actually wearing one today, and so I'll show you that one of my favorite features of this garment are the darts that are in the front. I don't know if you can see it. And they are also in the back, and I think that it provides a nice like cinched in effect, and I love that. And I have tried other fit and flare dresses, for example, the Simplicity 8951, which is probably one of my favorite dress patterns, but I still feel like the Simplicity 2444, it just fits me much better than any other dress, and that's why I always flock to it when I want to, I flock to it when I want to use fabric that I know would just look good with it. And I like that it has an exposed zipper, and I was a bit nervous that I wouldn't have a zipper in my stash to complement it, but I found this navy blue zipper, which I think is a perfect complement to it. So yes, I did finish my seams with my serger. And let me flip that out for you. And I made the size 4. Now I've been making this pattern for years, oh so many years, to where when I make the size 4, I do tweak it just a tad, because I don't stitch the side seams with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. I stitch it with half an inch seam allowance. I found that that gives me the better fit. And so that's the inside of the garment. Oh, one more modification that I did make. I want to note that this garment has pleats, and so whenever I make the garment with cotton fabric, I prefer it with gathers instead. I don't know why. I just think that it looks more carefree, and cotton feels like a more carefree fabric, and so I did gathers in the skirt instead of the pleats. However, I plan to make this skirt, not the skirt, but this dress again, to make a garment to go with my tray-eye cardigan, and I'm going to use a lightweight corduroy. And whenever I use lightweight corduroy with this fabric, I tend to go for the pleats that are in the garments. Alright you guys, that is it for the finished objects. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to start over with the works in progress. Okay, so I'm back. I was running out of time, but I think I pretty much covered everything on the Simplicity 2444. I decided to go into a bit more detail because while I have made that garment numerous times, I do have new followers, so I wanted to share what I typically do when creating that pattern, just so you'll know the details. So now the works in progress. Today I want to share with you the main work in progress that I've been working on, the only work in progress that I've been working on actively, and that is my tray-eye cardigan. A lovely follower, Emma, she helped me with the pronunciation, and I was so grateful for that. And she said tray-eye means sandy beach or shore in Gaelic. And you know, first I read her pronunciation and also the details, and then when I was looking at the pattern card, I see that Jade Starmore, who is the designer of this cardigan, she stated that tray-eye is the Gaelic word for a sandy beach. And she said, I sought to capture the patterns and mood of a sunny tray-eye at low tide and to bring Hebridean light and color into a city room. I thought that description was so beautiful, so perfect. And I think she more than accomplished that with this design. So when I was reading her description, everything was just working all well together, because, you know, I was talking about how Emma told me about the pronunciation and also what the meaning of tray-eye, and then I read that description. Then when I read the description, I was like, oh, my sandy beach has, you know, a bit more like greenery. And so right when I was thinking that, about a day later, then another an Instagram follower sent me an image, and I didn't even say that this to anyone, that my sandy beach had more greenery, but she just sent me an image, and it was a sandy beach that had the colors of my tray-eye cardigan, which are shades of green, and I thought it was just perfect. And following the works in progress section, I'll definitely share that image with you, and it was just so inspiring. And I was like, hey, you know, I was so happy she sent that. So I shared the yarn in the previous episode, and since that episode I was able to get I finished the majority of it. I'm still working on the sleeves, but I was able to complete, okay, how am I going to show this? But I was able to complete the left front, the right front, and the back of the garment. And there are more detailed pictures on my Ravelry and also on my Instagram page. But it's hard to hold it up, or all these pieces when I'm talking. But I was able to complete that, and I just have been having so much fun with the project. It's quite enjoyable. And currently, Okay, I'm going to take off my shawl because I keep moving and it keeps sliding off. But currently I'm doing the sleeve. And so that's been fun also. So seeing it all come together is quite amazing. I just love working it up. I do want to say a note that this cardigan is unique because you're going to have that fair out portion at the bottom, and then you have that plain stockinette portion at the top. Now, I know that with me, when I do color work, and it's probably the case all around, then my gauge tends to get tighter. But of course, when you're just doing plain stockinette, it tends to get like larger. And so I like that the design has you change needle sizes to account for this. And so it's very important that your gauge swatches, and I'm showing it to you, are the exact same for the stockinette portion and also the fair out portion. So as you can see, I have the 2 gauge swatches for my stockinette and fair out portion. And so to get gauge for the color work part, I had to go down 1 needle size. But I wasn't getting gauge with by going down only 1 needle size with the stockinette portion. So I had to go down 2 needle sizes to get gauge. But I knew that it was very important that that gauge was matching, because otherwise the fit of the cardigan would be off. And so I didn't want that. And I think it worked out perfectly. I can already see, and I've been measuring the cardigan and comparing it to my preferred measurements for cardigans. And the fit is, I think it's going to be really, really nice. So that's how that is coming along. Let me make sure that I'm covering everything. Now for my swatch, I do want to say that I made a mistake and I worked from chart B instead of the chart A for the swatch. So my swatch looks like little lightning bolts. I was like, just make sure you don't make that mistake when you're creating the garment, which I did not do. So that worked out. And I didn't do a new swatch because I figured that the color work, I was still doing stranded color work, and I said I don't think my gauge would differ from me working from chart B versus chart A that much. So, and it didn't differ at all. And so that is it for the works in progress. And before I get into the what I'm wearing and also the admin, I wanted to share with you what I'm wearing. And as I've stated, I'm wearing another version of my Simplicity 2444 dress. And again, this has the gathers instead of the pleats. And I made this version last summer, and it's one of my favorite versions of this garment that I've made. I just really love gingham. And yeah, so let me get my shawl back. Oh, I want to say that this shawl, it is like a cloud. If you look at the content of the yarn, it has alpaca and silk in it. And so the drape is so beautiful. It's so lightweight, and you can kind of see the halo there. But I really love it. Now, I have a bit of admin that I wanted to cover before I end this podcast. Now, the channel, I've been thinking of this idea for a few months. But now I see that there's an opportunity to really take on this new structure to the YouTube channel. And that structure will include more videos, but there will be an inclusion of shorter videos. So every month I will still stick to my schedule of doing a full podcast once a month. And the full podcast will follow the same layout with the works in progress, with the finished objects, just sharing, a bit of chatter. But there are many times that I want to check in or do check-ins, kind of like I do on my Instagram, sharing my weekly craft plans, doing, yarn reviews, which I've done on my Instagram stories, or even like product or tool reviews, and some of my favorite things. But I typically run out of time because, of course, you can't squeeze it. Well, you can, but I don't want the podcast to be so long. So what I decided to do was to start doing shorter videos and putting them in, sporadically, maybe weekly. And so that's what you'll probably see more videos popping up on the channel. Those videos definitely will be shorter, maybe 5 to 15 minutes. And also having those shorter videos will allow for me to edit it at a much faster pace also, because the podcasts do take longer to edit. So that, I just wanted to cover that new structure to the channel. And I know one of the first videos that you'll see popping up pretty soon will be a review of the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes tweed. I already did a review, I mentioned previously, on my Instagram stories, but I didn't archive those, and I thought that it'd be really helpful to talk a bit more about that yarn and how it has held up over the years, since I've been using it for about 7 or 8 years now. And so that would be one of the first videos. Also, I will be doing more collaborations with Knit Picks, and so you'll see some of those videos, but I'll also just be sharing other videos and other check-ins, and you'll see those popping up. Also, this morning I did mail all of the giveaways to the winners of the Kim Hargraves along, and so you should, if you check your Ravelry, I know that Nicola, she responded back to me. Then I sent you the tracking number, the customs number for your package, and so you should have that. And I'm so grateful to you all for entering my first knit along. I do have plans to do another knit along. I'm not sure what the focus would be. I was thinking maybe about socks, or maybe another garment focused on a designer. I'm not sure yet, and so I'll think about that a bit more. And because I would like to do a knit along at least once a year, because they're so much fun. So that is it for today's episode. I will include the twirls of the Sartre shawl, the Be Thankful cardigan, and also the Simplicity 2444. Again, thank you so much for joining me for this podcast, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.